welcome to this episode of Real Women. I'm Amber Carnish, and joined with me today is Jo Orwiler. Thanks for being here with me, Jo. So can you just start off by telling me a little bit about yourself?
Of course. So my name is Johanna. I go by Jo. I'm 24 years old. I grew up a missionary kid in Thailand. I lived there for 14 years of my life, from ages 4 to age 18. Then I moved back to the States to attend college and study filmmaking.
Cool. I didn't know that about you. That's awesome. So how did you get started in filmmaking? Like, what made you want to go to film school?
Yeah, so I actually started off as a communications major at JBU because I didn't know what I wanted to study.
Yeah.
I didn't even know you could study film. So I spent a year in the communications major and just really was not feeling it. It wasn't fun. I was like, I guess I'll sludge through this. I took a couple of film classes and just really fell in love with it like right away. So I dropped my comm major and started studying film instead.
Yeah.
And just really grew a love for it from there, and I've been doing it ever since.
Yeah, so what are some of like your favorite positions to work?
Assistant director.
Assistant director, yes. And we just finished up shooting a short film where you were the assistant director, and I think you did a really great job on it.
Thanks. I really like production side of things.
Yeah.
I'm not so great with like gear and cameras and stuff. Like I understand the concept, but it's hard for me to put it in action. But I do enjoy the production side of filmmaking.
Well, that's awesome. We need people like you, so.
Hope so.
Can you tell me other projects that you've worked on in the past?
Yeah, so I worked on my friend's student films all the way through college. And then after getting out of college, I worked a couple of commercial projects. I worked on two features with Rock Hill Studios. I worked on American Cherry, which shot in 2019, and then Freedom's Path, which also shot in 2019, end of 2019. I worked on The Chariot with Skipstone Pictures, which shot earlier this year. And then like in between there, I've just done like here and there, commercial here, step on for a day here and there, just short films, stuff like that.
That's awesome. What would you say is your most favorite project that you've worked on?
I really liked actually directing my own film my senior year. Besides that, I think Freedom's Path was a really good experience. It was very difficult. Wild, but but it was a really good experience.
Yeah, well, it's good that you like have that underneath your belt. And also I feel like shooting your own project, I mean, that's like, you feel like this is mine, and so you have like a lot of control. So it makes sense that it would be one of your favorite ones to do.
I learned a lot doing that. I learned a lot.
Yeah, and I feel like I have learned so much about myself, like doing filmmaking. Sure. I talked about this in another interview, but I used to be so shy. Like, I still am, but not as much as I used to. And filmmaking, you have to be like very like, you have to communicate with people. And so that like really pushed me to do that. Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, when I started my film major, I was too scared to talk to anybody else. So I did all of my projects by myself. Yeah. Which didn't turn out great.
Yes, it's definitely like a collaborative field for sure. So I know that you are also working on another film of your own, right? What is it called? Glass Cages, is that right?
Yeah, Glass Cages.
Can you tell me about that?
So Glass Cages is a 2-year project in the making. So I pitched the film at the Fayetteville Film Fest Pitch Prize event in 2018 and made it to the final 3, but didn't win. But I kind of like caught the bug of wanting to make it.
Right, yeah.
So I pitched it again in 2019, and that time I did win.
Sweet.
So that was $2,000 from Rock Hill just to like get it going. So I planned everything. I had everything laid out, and I was going to shoot in May of 2020. And then in March 2020, you know what happened.
Yep.
And so I was like, okay, this is fine. I'll just push it back a month. It'll be fine. And
a year later.
Pushed it back a month, and then it was like, oh, this still isn't gonna work. Pushed it back another month, and then by that time I was like,
Yeah.
So then, like 3 weeks before we were supposed to start filming, 2 of my locations dropped out because of COVID reasons.
Yeah.
And then I was just like, you know what, this is not gonna happen this year.
Yeah.
So I'm shooting it this year instead, and I've been planning and preparing for it for a long time.
Yeah, well, that's exciting. It's like really awesome to see like so many productions going on now that I know a ton were canceled.
Yeah, it's nice to see it like cropping back up again, because 2020 was dead.
Definitely, yeah. I didn't work on like anything in 2020, I don't think.
I spent 2 days in total on film sets in 2020.
Yeah, I think same. I worked on Rock Hill's short film, Blood on the Risers.
Blood on the Risers.
And I was only there for 2 days. I wasn't there. I think they filmed for a few days, but I was only there for a couple of them. So yeah, I didn't really do a lot in 2020 either. But now I'm trying to work on as much as I can, and it's been fun. So backtracking a little bit, what does being a woman in film mean to you, and what has been your experience as a woman in film?
So I know that the film industry, for the most part, has been male-dominated for most of its existence. But in this last decade or so especially, I've seen that women in film like Greta Gerwig and Chloe Zhao are really showing and proving that women are making a space for themselves in film at the top of the Hollywood ladder. And so I feel like the film industry is like changing and shifting gears to make room for these women. And because of their work and the work of others like them, I don't feel intimidated by the fact that I am a woman going into film. Instead, I'm hopeful and excited.
Yeah, it definitely is super
for
exciting.
Like what is coming, because it's like I'm standing on a tradition, on a legacy of those who came before me.
Right.
It's a really cool, empowering feeling. Basically.
Yeah, no, I definitely feel that. When I started out, I didn't really have like a lot of like female like filmmakers to look up to, but now it's like grown since I've started, and I'm really excited what the future is going to hold.
Yeah. And I don't think 20 years ago, I don't know if I would have been able to like study what I studied and go into what I'm interested in, because
I would definitely feel a lot of intimidation, which I did starting out like just a few years ago, but like 20 years ago, like you said, I don't think I would be doing it either. It's just so crazy to think about.
It's really exciting. Like, things are changing slowly but quickly at the same time.
Yeah, and like working with like other women on set, it feels just like there's a different perspective on things, and it feels more complete, I guess, in a way.
Yeah.
At least for me, I don't know.
I really believe that women have unique perspectives and talents and experiences to bring to the film world, and it really shows in what they do on screen. It's so cool.
Yeah, I think it's like very necessary to have like a good balance between male and female on pretty much all career paths, but specifically film. Yeah. So I'm excited for the future, definitely. What is a piece of advice you would give to a young woman who is, on the fence of whether or not to go into filmmaking?
So I did think about this one a little bit. If you love making movies, great. Like, do it.
Yeah.
If you want to do it as a hobby, then awesome. It's a little bit easier to do like as a hobby. But if you're thinking of going into a full-on career, it's really important to know if you really want it, because it's very difficult to get anywhere in film, like especially if you're starting like from the bottom, unless you really, really want it.
Right.
And I saw a lot of my fellow students at JBU who were just kind of there, like not because they loved art, but because they were just kind of like there to get a degree, and they were like, filmmaking sounds fun. And I could really tell the difference in the quality of product that was put out. No offense to me, like that's just something that I noticed. And yeah, if you want to go into film as a career, you have to jump in and get that experience and learn what it is like to really do it. Not a lot of people have access to sets, but if you can in any way, if you have any filmmaker friends, even if you can just walk on set for a day to be a PA, then do it. Yeah. Because the learning about the film industry and being in the film industry are very, very different things. And if you want to be in the film industry, you have to know what you're getting into. Right. Very long answer, but there it is.
But it's a great answer. Yeah, I think that's really good advice. Just because, I mean, there's a ton of stuff that I don't think I realized until I worked on my first feature. I mean, there's so many different departments you don't really think about. Yes. So it's like, you should really like get a grasp of like what it means to be in the industry. So yeah, I think that's really good advice. Well, I think that'll do it for this episode. Be sure to tune into future episodes as we introduce more women across the state who are changing the film industry. On behalf of Jo Orwiler, I'm Amber Carnish, and I'll see you next time.